The ultimate changes that you make in your life are going to be created by the small steps you take daily. What's up everybody, Schuyler Diehm here, men's fitness coach, and in today's video, we are going to be going over some extremely impactful books when it comes to health, fitness, weight loss, everything taking care of your body. Now, I have been studying fitness, I've been studying health, nutrition for over 12 years now, probably about 14 years. So over that period, I've had the pleasure of reading a lot of different books, of consuming a lot of different videos, podcasts, like anything I could get my hands on. And I wanted to basically break down what I believe have been the most impactful books when it comes to understanding health, understanding nutrition, and then also actually implementing it. That's why I feel like this should be separated into two categories. So the first being information. Right, helping you learn more. What's healthy? What's not healthy? What should I include in my diet? What should I avoid? What should I do to go to the gym? What exercises should I do? And then there's also the psychology side, right? Like, I know this information, but how do I get myself to do it? How do I link pain to staying where I am, to consuming unhealthy foods, to being lazy? And how do I link more pleasure to exercising, to eating the right foods, right? Because on a psychological level, like, we as humans are hardwired to run away from pain and to move towards pleasure. And so if we can associate more pain with staying where we are, more pleasure with being healthier, then we're basically going to be hardwired to actually go out and do it. And so with that being said, I wanted to just break down these books, right? We've got 3 books in the information side, and then we've got another 2 in the psychology side. So book number 1 we're going to talk about is Eat Smarter by Shawn Stevenson. Now, this is by far the most informationally dense book that I have had the pleasure of reading. But when I say that, I feel like a lot of people's heads go towards, oh, it must be boring. It must be a lot of science and studies. And yes, it's a lot of science and studies, but what I love about Shawn's writing, and he actually wrote the Sleep Smarter book right here, but what I love about Shawn's writing is that he is really good at integrating humor and enjoyment into his writing style. So I'll be reading this and he'll be talking about a study, and then he'll throw in just something like really interesting or something just hilarious, like a good comparison or a story or something that makes you want to keep reading, right? It's an enjoyable writing style. It's not just science dense that's just like overwhelming and boring. And so kind of the overview of this book, honestly, Shawn breaks down in the first few chapters why calories in, calories out isn't the best method of losing weight. He also dives into basically just how to eat, right? Like, what nutritional properties do certain foods have? How can you eat to lose fat? How can you eat to improve your mental performance? How can you eat to improve your sleep? And he breaks it down into a really simple process to help you understand more about what to avoid and what to eat. And so as far as information, this book is going to be my number 1 choice. Book number 2 we have is Super Life, and this is by a guy named Darren Olean. And as you can see, Super Life is the 5 simple fixes that will make you healthy, fit, and eternally awesome. Who doesn't want to be that? And so in this book, Darren basically breaks fitness and breaks nutrition specifically down into 5 very simple principles. He's got nutrition, hydration, oxygenation, alkalization, and detoxification, right? And so what's cool about this is it's done in a very simple way. The information is very easy to digest, and he has a lot of studies in there that break a lot of myths and show you kind of what is more healthy versus what's not. You know, I'm a firm believer on any road to transformation, simplicity is absolutely key. And so the fact that Darren breaks this down into 5 simple categories is super useful. And what's cool about these categories is they overlap, right? Like, if you take care of the nutrition side of things, most likely 2 to 3 other categories are going to be improved. And so it's a very simple way to break down, okay, what does it take to actually be healthy? How can I feed my body what it needs? And how can I do it in a way that's not super overwhelming or is going to take a ton of time or remembering a bunch of these useless scientific facts? So that would be number 2. Book number 3 is less of a book and more of a textbook, and it is Strong Medicine. It's written by 2 guys, Chris Hardy and Marty Gallagher. And basically this book is how to conquer chronic disease and achieve your full genetic potential. Now, I am a massive fan of this book. It is very dense, as you can tell. There's a lot of different pages in here, a lot of information. But the cool part about this is that, number 1, it's really simplified. So there are a lot of super cool stories, analogies to help you really get what you read. but then also it's very engaging, right? Like it's not just you're reading text all day, every day. There's pictures, there's graphics, there's stories, like there's a lot of stuff here to keep you engaged. And then of course, because it is textbook style, you have a glossary and you can just go to specific areas. Like if you want to learn how to exercise, what is the best type of weightlifting? If you want to learn, okay, what about cardio? If you want to learn certain form, like you can get to that spot in the textbook, and it covers everything of how to reduce chronic disease. So it talks about diabetes, talks about obesity, talks about heart disease, and basically how you can make simple tweaks again with your health to honestly just improve your health, right? To overcome any issues that you may be facing. So I've read this thing about twice through. Again, it's hefty. It is a longer read, but there's a lot of great content in here that's going to help you understand health a lot more. So those would be the 3 books when it comes to information. Now let's talk psychology, right? Let's talk about like what can we do to understand the food industry to link more pain to eating unhealthy and more pleasure to eating healthier. And so the first book that comes up on this list is The Omnivore's Dilemma. Now I have to say, as far as enjoyment of reading a book, this would probably be my number 1. I'm very, very interested in how certain food is produced, how it impacts our body. And this book does a really good job at breaking down how certain industries operate. So the book specifically talks about the conventional food production industry, the conventional organic, right? Like bigger brands such as Nature's Promise or Seventh Generation or any of these other brands that are organic, but also very widely known. And then it also breaks it down to small local farms. And then finally, foraging, right? Going out and finding your own food. And so what's crazy about this book is it really shows the dark side of the conventional food industry and even the conventional organic industry. And so reading this, there's so many different things that you're going to see that are just going to disgust you. They're going to surprise you, like all these different things that at the end of the day are going to help you link more pain to eating unhealthy. From as far as the animals being tortured to, you know, the food they're given, how cows are fed Skittles, how pigs are fed plastic, like all these really, really unnecessary and gross facts that basically just help you not want to eat in a certain way. And it also really just helps with your mindfulness, right? Understanding where the food that you're putting into your body came from. When you eat that piece of chicken, what did that chicken have to go through? How did it get from, you know, being a chicken in a farm all the way to you? And in the process, again, it really helps you associate more pain with eating unhealthy. That's book number 4. Book number 5 is going to be Feeding You Lies by Vani Hari. Now, Vani is known as the food babe on all social media platforms. And this is really less about the production of the food and more about what marketers are doing to trick you. More about what ingredients they're putting in our food that are causing us harm. And so what Vani does is a very, very good job at showing all the deception that's going on, the funding that's creating these altered studies, basically how things that are marketed as healthy could actually be damaging us, potentially sometimes even more, right? And so this book, you're reading it and you're just, again, getting angry. You're linking pain to eating unhealthy, because why would you want to support a food company that's cutting a few cents so its owner can make $1 million more, but in the process hurting you, in the process hurting your health? And so again, this is a really good thing to just be more aware of what you're putting in your body, more aware of certain ingredients, more aware of things like how plastic Tupperware can be causing cancer and can be causing hormone issues and metabolism issues. Right? So all these things that are just like, they're something you wouldn't normally realize, but they're something that have a massive impact on how you feel and how you operate at the end of the day. And so that is going to be book number 5. Now I said 5 books, but I do want to do an honorable mention. So this book is less about health and more about changing your habits. This was one of the first personal development books I ever read, and it's called The Slight Edge. It's by a guy named Jeff Olson, and this book is all about how, rather than trying to do everything at once, right? Starting a diet, going to the gym for an hour and a half a day, and trying to make this massive life change, the ultimate changes that you make in your life are going to be created by the small steps you take daily, right? It's not about changing the world in a day. It's not about changing your body in a day. But if you want to start eating healthier, start by eliminating one thing. Start by including one more healthy option with your daily meals, because over time, those results compound. And I think this would be the most important psychological change out there, is understanding that, you know, the reasons you failed in the past have probably been because you've been doing too many things at once, or potentially you've just been doing the wrong things. But most likely doing too many things at once, cutting out all your favorite foods, trying to make this massive change, when in reality at the end of the day, it's all about the small changes that you make daily. All right, you build momentum in the process. It's like a car. If you're cold starting a car and you're slamming on the gas and within the first 10 feet you hit a brick wall, that car is going to come to a complete stop. But if you slowly build the momentum, if you have a couple miles to just really get the speed of the car going, and then you crash into a brick wall, you're probably going to make some damage to that wall and potentially even move through it. And so that's what we want to do. We want to build momentum. We want to have those small steps daily. And this book does an incredible job at painting exactly how to do that. So those are my books. I am curious, out of all the books you've read on health, what one is your favorite? And then also, if you haven't read a book, just let me know in the comments what one of these are you interested in the most. Besides that, if you're looking for a way to drastically simplify the process of weight loss and make it that much easier, make sure you check the link in the description of this video. In it, we're gonna give you a free guide that shows exactly how we help our clients lose a ton of weight while also feeling incredible using fasting, strength training, and mindfulness. Check that out. Of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and with that being said, make sure to eat smart, move more, sleep deep, and be grateful for this moment. I'll see you next time.